Hey everybody, hope you're doing great. It's Kendal Netmaker here today. And today we are going to be talking about the power of the words that you decide to use in your life, your career, and whatever else that you decide to do with that. The reason I coming online for this one today is one of the things that I was told when I was growing up. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm from Sweetgrass First Nation. My grandma, my kukam, used to tell me what I'm going to tell you, and she would always talk about how you talk to people and how the words that you decide to use and how it can be used to uplift people or bring them down. She would always say, "Watch how you talk to people. Watch how you treat people." And carrying over into business and life, I've taken those words to heart because you know, we're living in a really fast paced world with everything going on right now. And sometimes the words that we decide to use in our conversation, whether it be through verbal or text or whatever that might be, how you communicate, sometimes um, the words that you speak to someone can trigger things. And so it's very important that you watch how you talk to people. And my cookum would always say that to us growing up. And even when I would go into to learn from elders as I would get older, I would I would hear that a lot. It was a similar teaching. Watch how you talk to people, they would say. And so as we get into this, for those of you who are you're building your careers, you're trying to go to school, you're trying to build a business, and so on, as you're growing and you're making things happen in that path that you've decided to go on, the way that you impact people and get messages to stick in a positive way. I tell this to all of my clients. I say, you always want to tell stories that impact them in a positive way. How do you impact them in a positive way? You tell stories that create an emotional connection between yourself and the other person. In our indigenous way of life, I guess we'll say, and from the reason we don't have manuals, I guess you will say, about like our worldview and whatnot, is because everything has been taught through oral stories, oral teachings. And so the reason it's been retained is because of the stories that are embedded in those words that either elders use or leaders use, and so on. So if you're someone who is looking to advance your life, your career, your business, and so on, and you're trying to, I don't know, do some self promotion, my advice to you is to tell stories. Tell a story that connects yourself to the other person, connects yourself to the other person that you're trying to work with. Tell a story that they can imagine themselves putting themselves in your shoes, taking them on a journey with that story, and at the end, you have a call to action or whatever it is that your point you're trying to get across. So whatever you decide to do with your path, try to remember that thing that I was told from those elders growing up. Watch how you talk to people. Watch how you speak to people, because the words that you use can either uplift someone or bring them down. What are you going to decide to do? So it's very important that we watch how we communicate, how we talk to people, because even a simple text message can get um, totally interpreted in the wrong way. And you probably have noticed that either yourself or people you've worked with, people that you're friends with. They've read some and it's been totally um, misinterpreted, right? So as you're going about your life, your career, tell stories that create impact, that create an emotional connection between yourself and other people. The same thing in business and marketing. It's the same thing. They tell stories that create an emotional bond between themselves and the person that they're trying to reach. Guess what? The same thing can be true for yourself. Whatever path you're trying to go on, that story that you tell, that's going to be what connects you to the other person. You know what? That's also what the other person is always going to remember about yourself. So as you go about your life and you're telling that story through your personal brand, your business brand, your organization, whatever that might be, every brand needs a story. Watch how you tell that story. Keep it positive. because the opposite is you can really affect people's lives. And so, I there's people out there that unfortunately are not here anymore. Sometimes there's things in their life that trigger those events where they're no longer here. Now, I don't know about you, but I would want to be someone living in this moment right now, trying to uplift people for them to carry on to the next day and the next day, not to try to cause a trigger reaction where they're no longer here. So that's where that teaching comes from. And that's what I was told when I was a kid. Watch how you talk to people, because the words that you decide to use can either uplift someone or bring them down. What are you going to decide to do? Because as human beings, we have that gift of choice. What we decide to do, it's upon us to do that. So as you go about your day and you're trying to create impact, whatever career you're in, whether you're in an organization, you have a business, and so on, the words that you decide to use to communicate is very powerful. You can uplift someone's day by just telling them, "I see potential in you. You're really good at that. Keep doing what you're doing." Or you can talk behind that person's back. You can gossip, create negative emotions around that event, that person. It's negative, right? So as you go about your life, your career, watch how you use the words that you speak. The words that you speak can either uplift someone or bring them down. What are you going to decide to do with them? Have an amazing day, and I will see you on the next live stream.